Hey everybody, this is Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com. Let's talk today about the point of diminishing returns. Now, this is a concept that applies to all sorts of areas of life, but specifically when it comes to working in the studio. When do you know you've reached that point of diminishing returns? More specifically, even, when it comes to buying gear. Because I tend to be the old grumpy old fart who tells you not to buy stuff, right? I tell you to focus on yourself, get better, don't worry about buying new gear all the time. However, buying gear is fun. And it's great, and I'm not against it. When the time is right and you need a piece of gear or it's time to upgrade and you're in a good position to do it, I say go for it. I'm all for it. Just remember, you know the spiel. Remember that your skill is the most important thing, not the gear that you use. However, when you want to upgrade, go for it. But how do you know how far to upgrade? At some point, is it not worth it? And that's where I'm going to talk about the law of diminishing returns. I first talked about this when I worked at Sweetwater, and customers would call in and they would want to know why they should buy, a $5,000 Neumann microphone versus a $100 Samson. Is there a difference? And so it starts this discussion that's actually really interesting, and it's very subjective. So I'm just going to give you my opinion on the matter. You can take it or leave it. It's your call. Okay, so when you're starting out with recording, you're typically going to go on the lower end of gear, right? You're not sure if you're going to like it. You're not sure if you're going to be any good at it. So you buy yourself a $100 microphone, a little cheap interface. Then you do it for maybe a year or two, and you start to get good at it, and you realize, okay, I can sense the limitations of my gear. I can hear how they're limited. I'm going to upgrade my microphone, get an outboard preamp, get a better interface. So then you move along with that for a while. You get maybe a few more microphones, a few more preamps, maybe even better interface, and you just keep going down that route. You get that road. You get some speakers, some small speakers at first, and you get a little bit bigger ones. Then you go and get some nicer ones, and then at what point do you stop upgrading? At what point do you not get any value? And that's the purpose of this video, is to talk about that. There is a point of diminishing returns when you're talking about gear. And the easiest way to kind of measure it is in dollars, okay? It's just kind of the easiest way to do it. So when you spend, let's talk about microphones. That's a great example. You spend $100 on a microphone. It's going to have a sound to it. And it's going to sound great for some things, maybe not great for other things. If you go and spend $1,000 on another microphone, that microphone, in general, and I'm speaking in very general terms, is going to sound a lot better. It's going to have a much clearer sound in general. It's going to have more body to it. It's going to just feel more high-end, maybe less plasticky, okay? If you've never experienced it, it's hard to explain. But when I went from recording on $80 microphones to getting to try out $800 microphones, I thought, oh, okay, this actually sounds really good. And since I know how to place the microphones, I can hear that difference. It sounds a lot better. And then if you're using $1,000 microphones, $2,000, $3,000 microphones, they have just this pristine sound to them. There's a reason they cost that much. It takes a lot of effort and research and development, but also just to put the microphones together. It's a lot of really nice quality componentry, okay? So let's say you got that $1,000 microphone and then you went to try a $2,000 microphone. Is that $2,000 microphone going to sound twice as good as the $1,000 microphone? I'm going to go with no. Okay, so for me, the point of diminishing returns with microphones and sometimes preamps, but especially microphones, is kind of that $1,000 mark, $1,000 to $1,500. As you spend more, you're getting much less in return for every extra dollar that you spend. So going from $100 mic to a $500 mic, big improvement. $500 to $1,000, big improvement. $1,000 to $2,000, little improvement, if any. $1,000 to $5,000, little improvement, but it might just be a different sound, not necessarily a better sound. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? You can keep spending more money, and it's not just going to keep getting better. It's kind of like a graph that goes up like this. It's improving as you spend money, and then it just kind of starts to flatten out. And you can throw a bunch more money at it, and it's not going to do that much more in quality, okay? So where's that point for you? I don't know. Maybe that point for you is at a $400 microphone. Maybe you get to that point and you listen to more expensive mics, or you try one, you buy one, and you say, this doesn't sound any better. I don't think it's worth my money to spend it. That's totally legit. But if you didn't have this diminishing returns mindset going into it, you'd be really disappointed. So know that as you go to upgrade gear, sometimes you're going to get to a point where the newest upgraded piece of gear isn't any better than the one before. And that's okay. You found that point of diminishing returns. And it's good news. You can focus on upgrading other stuff or upgrading yourself. You've reached the limit with that specific type of gear. Now you can move on. It's kind of cool, fun to think about. Hope that helped.